Hey everybody, this is Ming. I'm out at Dubspot, New York. I'm a Logic X instructor here. Today I'm going to go over a mix that I did for the EDM network for their Cloudcast series. It's a 25-minute multi-genre mix using Mixed in Key 6, Pioneer Rekordbox 3.0, two CDJ 2000 Nexus players, and the DJM 900 Nexus mixer. Part 1 of this series, I'm going to take you into the pre-planning of this mix, and in part 2 of this series, I'm going to show you how we execute this mix in a live performance. This multi-genre mix, I wanted to incorporate a bunch of my new tunes from my Firepower release, and also a bunch of the great tracks that are featured on the EDM network. So before I import my music, I want to show you how I personalize Mixed in Key and what I'm writing to the comment field so that I can read this information inside Rekordbox. I have the update comment tags checked. I'm writing only the key name and not the key and the BPM, and I do that because I like to analyze the BPM inside of Rekordbox. So if I need to make any changes in the BPM or to the beat grid, I do that function in Rekordbox, and I make those decisions when I'm in that software. I add the key to the front of my track so that I can see it not only in the key section of the comment section in the CDJs, but also inside the track itself if I need to refer to it. And then I'm leaving off the update custom initial key tags, update tempo tag, and writing the energy in front of the grouping. I don't need these for my tracks. So I go to the Analyze Songs function. I'm bringing in my tracks from a folder full of tracks that I've selected for this mix. And you'll see that the key results are getting analyzed for the tracks. When all the tracks are done being analyzed, I bring them into Rekordbox. But quickly, I just want to go over the Camelot Easy Mix wheel, which basically allows you to find tracks that will work harmonically with each other based on the circle of fifths system. If you need a little bit more information about harmonic mixing and the Camelot notation system, please refer to the Dubspot videos on our YouTube channel. Now that the key information has been written into my tracks via Mixed in Key, I can actually select the tracks, drag them directly from Mixed in Key into Rekordbox, and have Rekordbox analyze the BPM information. I could also do this by dragging the same folder of music into Rekordbox, but I'm just going to do it straight from Mixed in Key. So I'm selecting all the tracks, I'm dragging them into a playlist that I've already created for my EDM network mix. And you'll notice right away the BPMs are starting to come up inside Rekordbox. And this is the information that I'm going to use to help select different BPMs for different parts of my mix. I'm going to start out at 1 BPM, probably increase the speed of my mix at some point, change the mix by a half-time feel at some point, and maybe even make a drastic change later on in the mix. And I'll be able to do that by mapping out my mixes, by checking out the different BPMs and looking at what keys work together. So the next step that I do in doing this multi-genre mix is I'll try to find myself a starting point or some starting tracks. And an easy way to do this within Rekordbox is to look at groupings of tracks via the BPM. So if I see here, I've got a whole bunch of tracks at 140. There's a little preview of this one. So I'm going to select a bunch of tracks around the same tempo. So I'm going to go 140 to maybe 155 is a good grouping. And I'll drag these into what I call like a secondary audition playlist, right? So I can look at what tracks work together in that BPM. I can also look at the tracks in terms of key so that I want to figure out what tracks will work together in terms of harmonic mixing. And in harmonic mixing, you want to go from adjacent numbers. So for example, if I'm on 1A, I'd like to go from 1A to 2A or 1A to 12A. I can also go from 1A, which is minor, to 1B, which is major. So what I'm going to do is I'm looking for patterns in the sense that there's a BPM that works for me, tracks that will work together at the same BPM, and tracks that work together in the same harmonic key. You'll notice most of this is all in the pre-planning phase, and what I'm trying to do here is kind of mathematically and musically figure out what's going to work together. So the next process that I do is I'll start taking groups of tracks that work in the same key at the same BPM, and I'll try mixing them, doing that live to figure out what works together. And I'll build myself, let's say, a 10 or 15 minute block of music, and that will be, let's say, section A of my 25-minute mix. To illustrate this a little bit better, I took the mix and I brought it into Logic X, and I've mapped out the actual BPM changes so that we can go over the stylistic changes and the transitions, and then later on I'll describe actually how I physically did the parts of this mix. So let me give you a little bit of a taste of the beginning of the mix, and then I'll move on to the first transition, which will be going from 174 BPM to 186. So we're getting a nice up-tempo vibe there. And as I move down the track over till about the 6 minute and 11 second, 6 minute and 13 second mark, I'm going to make a physical transition by increasing the tempo from 174 to 186. So let's listen to what that sounds like.
MING.
Drop in the mic, you know we can't chat. We no come fi sing, we no come fi rap. When we in a full flight, lyrics coming non-stop. Lyrics them a fire, and lyrics them a shot. We a good MC, we no round about. We are the hottest thing about the panta. Everybody know what just a song we stop. How are you know me?
And what's interesting about that transition, if you go from 174 to 186, it's a dramatic tempo change. You're talking about 12 beats per minute. But because I'm doing it on a halftime feel, the actual tempo change doesn't feel as drastic. So this is an important thing to understand in terms of if you're going from a double time feel to a halftime feel, sometimes those transitions are great places to make tempo adjustments. Going down the mix, we're going to go from 186 back down to 183, and I'll show you where I make that adjustment.
Never felt like this before. Now as it's staring at the Lord. I never felt like this before. Now as it's staring at the Lord. I never felt like this.
Now again, I went from a halftime feel where the track was open
Lost my sanity.
to a section of the track where the intensity of the track was building up, so it actually doesn't feel like the track is slowing down at all. So it's sort of a little bit of a DJ trick that even though I'm slowing down the track, I'm increasing the intensity of the music that we're going into. Then later on in the mix, at about 16 minutes and 30 seconds, I'm going to go for a much more drastic change, 183 to 200. Let's listen to that change.
MING in the mix, live from Big Famous Music, NYC.
Okay, so what I did in this section, I did two things. Not only was I steadily increasing the tempo, but I dropped my second track in the middle of a breakdown, which is kind of advanced, but it's actually a very powerful way of hiding a transition from one tempo to another. So if you want to listen to that again, briefly, you'll hear that we go into a drop down, and then you'll hear I drop the second track in the middle of the breakdown. I'm increasing the tempo of both tracks at the same time. And I drop my new track. And I continue to increase the tempo of both tracks together, locked together,
MING
using
in the
the
mix,
CDJ's
live from Big
master tempo
Famous
sync
Music,
function.
NYC.
And we roll into this new track. And then finally, I'm going to go from a drastic 200 BPM change down to 140 BPM. But instead of just dropping a new track, I'm going to actually sync the second track to the first track at 200 BPM so that the transitions are much more smooth than just dropping a new track. So let's listen to how that works.
Problem is you need to get more fun out of life.
Were you going to have a party here tonight, son?
And again, even though I went from a much higher BPM, higher energy music, I was able to go to a halftime feel that the energy of the track actually makes it feel like there's not a tempo change. It just feels like there's another push in the mix. So in part 2 of this video series, we're going to take this pre-production planning part and actually implement it into a live performance, where I'm going to show you how to make these types of transitions and how to take this pre-planning thought process into a live performance atmosphere using the CDJ 2000s.
Welcome to Dubspot. We believe in providing you hands-on experience right away. Whether you're completely new to music and want to turn the sounds in your head into a musical reality, or you're an experienced artist looking to refine your skills and add new tools to your arsenal, we're ready to meet you at your level. For students of all ages, all levels, and all styles of music, Dubspot is here to help you achieve your goals. With course offerings both online wherever you are and at our school in the heart of New York City, we are ready to guide you through the next phase of your musical transformation. Whether you want to produce music, DJ, or do both, you've come to the right place. Come explore Dubspot for yourself. Become a part of our community and make music.